Million-dollar brand deals, being friends with some of the biggest stars in the world, and the adoration from millions of fans. Millions of people will dream of having money, talent, and looks, just like their favorite celebrities. Even though everything is shiny and bright as the carousel is spinning, it can be quite the opposite when it all comes to a stop. Since the late 2000s, South Korean media has earned a spot alongside industries in Europe, the US, and Africa. Boasting its clean image and strict training process, K-pop industries push out thousands of entertainers each year. Today, I'll be talking about a topic that fans may hear about but not regard as more than a headline. Sponsorships in K-pop. Sponsorship? Do you mean like Jennie for Chanel or BTS for McDonald's? And before some of you start typing up those paragraphs, let's get started. The definition from dictionary.com for the word sponsorship is the position or function of a person or group who vouches for, supports, advises, or helps fund another person or an organization or project. I'll be discussing the exchange of sexual favors for career and financial gain in South Korea. Most people hoping to be entertainers are young and willing to do whatever it takes to make their dreams come true. But the people in charge often have no problem taking advantage of people to get ahead. We often hear about slave contracts, dating bans, and the pressure to fit beauty standards, but idols often experience sexual exploitation. During an idol's training period, they are responsible for paying fees for their lessons, food, and personal expenses. Covering those costs may be easy for trainees from wealthy families, but others not so much. So when an offer presents itself to make some quick cash, many will accept without understanding the cost. As I said, sponsorship is nothing new. With the rise of the Me Too movement, many stars have described abuse in the industry. In South Korean media, however, the moment the topic appears in the news, it disappears just as fast. Tragedies like this have always been looming in the background, notably more since the death of Jung Jae-yeon and recently the Burning Sun scandal. For those who don't know, Jung Jae-yeon was an actress in the K-drama Boys Over Flowers. However, upon her demise in 2009, a letter detailed the abuse she faced. The letter listed the names of many people whom she had to serve in host clubs at the demand of her company. Since then, women and men have spoken about their encounters with the darker side of K-pop. A host club is, in essence, a place where guests are served by pretty people. At least, that's what most like to say. What separates these establishments are the prices. Host clubs can bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. A glass of beer could be listed for hundreds of dollars to discreetly pay for the young man or woman who the patron has requested to join them. The more money you pay, you can have company for activities like karaoke, dancing, or conversation, or other things. With the case of Jung Jae-yeon, when authorities investigated her company, they discovered a hidden room behind a paneled wall. The police revealed that the room was a host club to entertain VIPs. Yes, an entertainment agency not only sent hopeful idols to serve as clients at these clubs, but they also had to service investors on the premises. Training the nation's future stars is not cheap for these companies. Agencies, for the most part, end up hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt to cover these expenses. They will offer up idols to work off their debt sometimes. Many who have come forward with this information have expressed that the company expected that they would go along with hosting or face being blacklisted. The company could also sue the idol to pay back their debts, allowing this dark practice to continue. There was a similar case more recently in South Korea where the police discovered a Noribang was actually a host club with hidden rooms behind an iron door.
In this host bar, however, all the employees were men. 22 male, 10 female customers in a room, and 4 male customers were also found in this secret karaoke bar. Now, the food and drinks are extremely overpriced, but to the rich, it may not be much of a price to pay for some personal time with your favorite hostess. Once you go in the room, you can drink, sing together, cuddle, help each other with your homework, make out, all that stuff, so you get the idea. It's not that unusual if the employees in the host bars can earn more than $100,000 a month, because customers can also walk in with groups of friends or strangers, as it could be more fun that way for the customer to enjoy a karaoke night with more people, which equals more money. However, host bars are prohibited from operation at the moment because, as you know, there's more likelihood of COVID being transmitted from person to person, especially when the business relies on physical touch, kissing, etc. And it turns out that Mr. Big Hand over here was losing money because his type of business is prohibited currently under COVID restrictions. Therefore, he had to come up with a way to secretly run his business underground. Customers were subject to a fine of 100,000 won, equivalent to $100, and the business was also fined, but that remains the issue. Since it is only a fine, the business would still be allowed to operate somewhere else after paying the fine. Citizens argue that this is not a good enough deterrent, and the business owners and customers should be charged under the law instead of just given a ticket. So what do you think? Should this be a civil matter, or should they be charged criminally?
When victims are willing to expose these circumstances, the people in charge pull out many tactics. The victim may have been drinking or have ingested drugs, and perpetrators may threaten to expose the victim, ruining any chance for them to have a successful life. If that was not enough to keep the victim quiet, they were likely filmed without their knowledge, as it was in the case of Burning Sun. When people commit these crimes, they film themselves and share them with others. The possibility of this coming to light, effectively shutting down any victim, but gives those who instigate these crimes a major reason to protect themselves as well. Those who still manage to publicly shed light on this subject either lose their careers or their lives. This may seem outlandish to some because South Korea is a low-crime country, but that is because these cases either go unreported or end up being dropped by the police. When a crime occurs that positions the country in a bad light, it is quickly wrapped up or dropped without the possibility of reopening the case. But I choose to make this video because the more we know, the more we can prevent these people from getting away with these crimes. From celebrities to regular men and women, no one deserves to experience this. And by shedding light on these cases, we can find ways to ensure that crimes like this get investigated correctly. Thanks for joining me on today's video. See you next time. Bye.